Hello friends, welcome to Programming Mind Academy. So in this lecture, we are going to look into the data type in C++. So what are the data types? As name itself suggests, data type is nothing but the type of data which we are going to use in our code. So data type are used to define the size of variable. So we have different types of data like the numbers, the floating values, decimals, words, and names, etc. To store that data into the program, we have to define the variable name to that, and the data type defines the exact memory which needs to be allocated to these types according to their size. Means we have different size for the different data types. Now each variable will have a data type value, and according to the data type it will allocate the memory into the compiler. The compiler will allocate the memory to these variables. So what this means is that it tells the compiler to assign the exact number of bytes to the variable as pointed by the size of data type. So what are the types of data type? There are three major data types, like the primary data type, user defined data type, and derived data type. So user defined data type and derived data type, we are going to look into that afterwards. So now let's look at the primary data types, and those are character, integer, floating point, boolean, double floating point, void, and wide character. So these data types are similar to that of the variables because we are going to define the variables using the data types. So these are some example of the data types. To store the number, we go with the integer data type. To store the characters, we go with the character. Now for string, we have two data types. First is character 50, that is it can store up to a 50 byte, and second is a string. Now string is from the C++ libraries, and the character string is coming from the legacy C programming. Then we have double, which will have a more precision, as we saw that in the previous video. The float will also have the decimal values, but the precision is less. Then we have a boolean, which can store the two values, true and false. And then we have a pointer. Now pointer is something which can store the address of another variable, and we are going to look into the pointer in the after videos. So we have a defined number of size for these data types. So character can store a 1 byte, and integer can store a 2 byte, long can store a 4 byte, and double can store a 8 byte. Now you can see there are different keywords which are assigned to these data types, like the signed character, unsigned character, short, long, etc. So what does this mean? So whenever you go with the signed or the signed keyword, it can define or it can differentiate between the variables, like it can differentiate the negative and positive value, whereas unsigned cannot have a negative values, it will only have a positive values. So hope you have understood the basic concept of a data type. Thanks for watching.